What up, Screen Fiends? I'm GB, and you're tuned in to Headz TV, where we like to discuss all the wonderful things appearing on your movie and your TV screens. In this episode, I'm going to give my predictions for the next episode of Better Call Saul, that's Season 3, Episode 9, titled Fall. Alright, so the synopsis for Episode 9 reads, Jimmy visits a friend and takes up an old pastime. Chuck and Hamlin argue over the future of the firm. Kim faces challenges. So now whenever I do predictions, I always go off of the synopsis as well as whatever promotional material AMC gives us. So in this case, they gave us a trailer and one bonus scene, short scene, with really no spoilers in it. But I won't go into the scene in detail in case any of you don't want to watch it before the episode airs. Okay, so first, Jimmy visits a friend and takes up an old pastime. So in the trailer, it's only quick cuts of Jimmy with like no dialogue, or little dialogue anyway. So it's hard to tell from the trailer. We see him in a mall in like this funny jumpsuit. That's the only like shot of note that I can say here. So if you remember in the episode the previous episode 8, the title was Slip. There was a scene in the beginning with Jimmy and his old partner who had died previously. Remember, we saw his death in season 1. So I think he's going to go back home to visit that friend's grave. And then it says, takes up an old pastime. So I guess in honor of his friend, maybe it's his friend's birthday or an anniversary of some sort, the day they met, the first heist con or whatever they pulled, I don't know. But he's gonna go back home to Chicago to visit his friend's grave, and then I think in honor of his friend, he's gonna pull off some sort of old con that they used to do. So we'll probably get another flashback in that episode that will show us those two pulling off the same thing that Jimmy's gonna try and do. Will he succeed? I would like to think so, but who knows, man? With this show, anything's possible. Okay, next we got Chuck and Hamlin argue over the future of the firm. This, I think, is going to be a big part of the episode. The sneak peek involves this situation. So this says they argue over the future of the firm. So the sneak peek scene we get is most likely what's going to lead up to that argument. And where the sneak peek cuts off is probably where the argument starts. So without trying to spoil the sneak peek too much, it's basically going to boil down to Chuck and his condition and what happened at the bar trial with Jimmy. It's affecting the firm. And Hamlin is probably going to want Chuck to step down, or he's just going to be arguing that Chuck can't practice. And, of course, Chuck's not cool with that because Chuck plans on cleaning himself up. But I think Hamlin is right, and he's going to stick to his guns, and it's going to be a vote of the partners against Chuck. Maybe not this episode, maybe not till the last episode, but that's what it's going to lead to, a vote of Chuck being kicked maybe out or pushed to retire or back to the state he was in before he got back involved. I'm not really sure on that, but I'm sure something like that is going to happen, and maybe that'll send Chuck off because he's going to blame Jimmy for it all, and which will start an even bigger conflict between them. I only see the conflict between Chuck and Jimmy growing, because look at Breaking Bad. There is no happy ending really in Breaking Bad. There's somewhat of a happy ending in that Walt goes out on his own terms, but it's not like a true traditional happy ending. I don't think the same is going to be for Saul. His ending will be somewhat happy because he's gonna be practicing law, and he's still gonna have money and a practice and be a lawyer, but he's also going to be a dirty lawyer and involved with bad people, and who knows what other destruction will happen in his life, because we know that Chuck at least isn't a huge part of his life during Breaking Bad. Neither is Kim, but then again, we never get to see Saul in his personal life during Breaking Bad. So how do we know, right? But I don't see things going good between Jimmy and Chuck, just as I don't see things going good for Jimmy and Kim. Now it says Kim faces challenges, and as I said in my review, I think she made a big mistake by taking on that second case, because Mesa Verde was already too much for her. She was getting it done, but it was still way too much for just one person. and now taking on this other oil company. She's gonna get into a hard spot, and I think eventually she's gonna need help. And yes, Jimmy can't practice law, but I believe he can still help out with filing and paperwork and figuring things out. And who knows, maybe Jimmy will take underhanded, unethical ways. Because, like I said, I do not see things going well for Kim and Mesa Verde. But, like I said, who knows? This show is so unpredictable. Now, this part isn't in the synopsis, but in the trailer for the episode, we see Mike, we see Gus, and Hector. So they're obviously going to be at least a small part, at the very least, of the episode. Now, we see Mike talking about, he says something, oh, well, if I put my money through here, then it comes out clean, whatever. And we get a quick shot of, like, a clean office. Now, when I kind of made this semi-prediction in my review, I didn't watch the trailer yet because I usually don't watch it right after the episodes. I'm usually, up going to bed or doing something else, something with the kids, whatever it is, depending on the day of the week and the time. So I normally don't watch the trailers right after. I don't watch them till I make the video. So I didn't get this shot, but I already had made a prediction that I think Mike is going to be cleaning his money through Madrigal. That's the German-ish, Eastern European. I'm not sure if they're German. I believe that's what they were speaking in that one episode of Breaking Bad, but I'm not 100%, so please don't shoot me for that one. So that company that Walt got in bed with, that Gus was in bed with, the lady Lydia worked for Madrigal. They were all kind of, doing the drug business through there. I believe that's where they're going to send Mike's money to get cleaned or whatever, is make him an investor in that or something like that. So we'll probably get to see some familiar characters from Madrigal. Maybe that guy that kills himself. That would be awesome. But I'm almost positive we'll get to see Lydia because we've already seen her this season in Better Call Saul. So, yeah, I think that's what we're going to deal with Mike and for part of Gus. And then the other part of Gus is going to be dealing with Hector. And it looks like from that quick flash in the trailer, it looks like there's going to be, things are going to start to get really heated between the two of them. Most likely over territory, product, that type of thing. And Hector doesn't like Gus. Gus doesn't like Hector. He killed his partner and all that. So that's going to get heated right there. Now, I don't know if Gus knows about the pills. I know that Mike knows, but we don't, So I really hope we get a little bit more of the insight into what's going on with Mike, Gus, Nacho, Hector, because I feel like most of it is there for us to pick out, right? But then there's little things like in the last episode with Mike digging things up and then the body. I didn't get that, so I really hope we get insight into that. Maybe that's why Hector's pissed, because maybe him and Gus were the only ones that knew that body was there or something. I don't know how that's going to play out, but hopefully we get to see it in the next episode. Now, it's called Fall, so I have a big feeling that this is going to be a negative episode for all of our main characters. So bad things are going to happen with Jimmy. Maybe not so bad that he goes to jail or anything, but I think bad things are going to... Or maybe Jimmy's the one where good things happen because of bad things he does. Yeah, I like that better. So that's where Fall comes into Jimmy's, because he's falling back to his bad ways, and good things are happening to him, though. And then I think for Chuck, bad things are going to be happening. Hamlin, too, in a way, because he's also like a main character, but not as big as Chuck. But bad things with Chuck and the firm. And then Kim is going to have bad things happen because taking on both of those cases and too much workload. Now, these might not all be major bad things like, end of the world bad or lose your job bad or go broke bad. But they're going to be bad leading us into the finale, which I think is going to have big repercussions for everybody. And then Mike he's falling deeper into the criminal element. We see that from the handshake in the last episode, which was amazing. I don't know if I talked about that in the review. Also, I don't think I talked about how good Michael Mondo was as Nacho in the last episode. Phenomenal. I would definitely give him Performer of the Week. I think I was trying to wrap that video up and I might have left that out. I might not have. Who knows? But that's pretty much my predictions for this episode. It's going to be look, the way Better Call Saul does, the last 3 episodes are usually the best of the season. And last episode was really, really good. Probably the best of the season so far. So these next 2 should be even better than that. And the way they do it, just like Breaking Bad, is the story will get the story for this season will come to somewhat of a close, while also kickstarting what's going to take place next season will happen in episode 10 for the most part, but it'll be like wrap up in episode 9 and a little in episode 10, and then the second half of episode 10 is going to start to at least hint or lead us towards the direction of where they're going to go for season 4. So yeah, sound off down below. Let me know what your predictions are, or what you think about my predictions for the next episode, season 3, episode 9, full of Better Call Saul. Like, share, subscribe. Don't forget to do that if you like the content. It helps out, boosts my ego, helps my confidence, and it also helps YouTube recognize that you guys like the channel beyond the view, which makes it better for the channel to grow. So thanks again for watching. Always appreciate it. You guys have a fantastic day, and I will see you next time. That was a lot of pointing. It was like I had 2 6-shooters. Pew pew.